guys, and welcome back to Wrestling Media. Today we're going to basically review the biggest little man, Rey Mysterio 3-disc set released by the WWE. I think this was obviously released back in 2005, I believe. So basically there are 4 versions that are the special edition versions to collect. This was the standard edition. I do have the standard edition which was released by Silvervision in the UK, which is on the shelf. These two are from the US. There was, as you can see on here, it says 1 great DVD set, 4 collectible covers. So the 4 collectible covers were the black, green, blue and red, and then this gold version was part of the Rey Mysterio Ultimate Fan Pack, which I do have. I'm going to do a separate review on this later. As you can see, that's a separate one, still sealed, because I've got one there. So the top ones are obviously, as you can see, they're all still sealed and they're going to stay sealed. I do have obviously the other versions which I've obviously opened and bought in the past. So these ones I bought originally. It's a beautiful set. That's the red one. The blue one. These were all exclusive in the US, so I did obviously manage to get all of them twice. I think I am going to sell the open ones if I do get a good price for it. I knew this wouldn't go back in now. There we go. I'll put that back in there. The green one, unfortunately, is still sealed as well, and this green one is still sealed. So I'm going to keep the green one sealed, and then obviously the black one. We have the black one there as well. I am a crazy collector, as you can probably see that I have all the sets like almost twice. Got this one twice obviously because that's part of the Ultimate Edition set. So let's just basically get right into this awesome set to buy. If you haven't got it already, go get the standard edition or try and get any of these coloured versions. They do look great on the shelf. I'm going to keep these sealed. I've left these open obviously because I bought them throughout the years, but they may go on eBay. I'm not too sure yet. 1 or 2 may. In fact, if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to sell all 4 of them. So let's just look at obviously what kind of matches are on this actual DVD set. Let's just open the red one up again. Have a look at the matches on here. We're going to talk about disc 1, so I'm not sure if you can see disc 1 there, but I'm just going to prop this up here. The feature basically starts off with a match from one of the greatest pay-per-views in history. This was When Worlds Collide. The show was a AAA show promoted in conjunction with WCW, hence the title. It was a massive success. The 6-man tag features a 19-year-old Rey Mysterio, who had been wrestling for about 5 years at this point. And it was obviously his pay-per-view debut, and it was a fantastic match to start us off with, even though the finish is a bit flat compared to obviously the rest of the bout. So from that point onwards, we basically go on to ECW, which was one of my favourite promotions, for a couple of very entertaining bouts against Psicosis and Juventud Guerrera. The style of Lucha Libre had never really been pushed in the United States, so to see these guys throw themselves around, as well as leaping and jumping, especially at such speed, was a joy to watch. What also adds to the occasion is having Joey Styles putting in the effort. For those that's only seen Joey Styles commentate on WWE's version of ECW, this is a wake-up call to obviously how good he used to be. All 3 men went on to bigger and better things in WCW, but it's always good to see where their US journey began. With ECW wrestling behind him. World Championship Wrestling is Rey's next port of call. His debut match in WCW was on pay-per-view against one of the best in-ring technicians, Dean Malenko. In my opinion, Dean Malenko deserves much more credit and recognition than he deserves. It's such a shame that obviously his small stature went against him once he made his debut in WWE. Then obviously, as you can see on the first disc, there's a lot of matches with Dean Malenko, Ultimo Dragon, and Thunder Liger as well, and then Ultimo Dragon again. So basically, Rey and Dean had a fantastic match at the Great American Bash, which is on here. It was the perfect start to his WCW career. Following on from that contest, we have a better match with Malenko again on Nitro, and then watch Rey in action against Ultimo Dragon. Rey then discusses his goal as a WCW Cruiserweight before introducing the next match. Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Liger in 1996. There probably wasn't a better Cruiserweight wrestler on the planet than Liger. Rey versus Liger is a phenomenal match in my opinion, possibly the highlight of the first disc. And it's basically a great advert for what non-heavyweight wrestling should be. The first disc then closes with another match against Ultimo Dragon. That is obviously an improvement on the previous encounter. We'll look at disc 2 now as well. Instead of obviously just keeping the red one out, put the red one back in. And then we'll open up the blue one, or the black one. We'll open up the blue one. The only thing different is just the colour. Everything else is exactly the same. So let's have a look at disc 2. Disc 2 begins with Rey Mysterio talking about how wrestling was and still is perceived as a big man sport, but how he and obviously other cruiserweights didn't let that or lack of their size slow them down. The first match on the second disc is an absolute classic against the newly turned heel Eddie Guerrero. It doesn't say obviously so in the chapters or the listings, but the match is in fact a title versus mask match, which adds to the hype and tension surrounding the bout. A rematch with Eddie and another match against Juventud Guerrero. Both matches maintain their form shown so far. Lead us into a quick talk from Rey Mysterio on how the cruiserweights raised the bar for professional wrestling across the world. Then we move on to a match against Chris Jericho. Obviously, like all matches so far, this is obviously a great example of creating excitement between the ropes. It also helps that this obviously was the peak of Chris Jericho's heel persona, with Chris Jericho in full floor at this point in time. Yet another match against Psicosis is followed by a stunner against Blitzkrieg on Nitro. Blitzkrieg was only around for a short period of time, but he made a distinct impression almost immediately. It's a crying shame he didn't have a longer career, because the guy was an amazing talent inside the ring. Due to the next stage of Rey Mysterio's career, having him obviously unmasked, WWE omit his entire feud with the NWO, including his clean win over Kevin Nash, which would have been obviously the perfect match to show the world that size doesn't always matter, and his run with the Filthy Animals, which included his ill-advised heel turn. Instead, we have obviously Rey talking about his arrival in WWE, and lying about deciding to leave WCW. Obviously, Rey stayed until the death of the company and won the Cruiserweight tag team titles on the last ever WCW show, if I remember correctly, and his debut match on SmackDown against old enemy Chavo Guerrero. Kurt Angle is the next roadblock to face Rey Mysterio, with Kurt Angle focusing on Rey's size as the reason why he doesn't belong in the same ring as him. The feud also featured two great lines from Angle, one before their SummerSlam match and one after. The first one, I believe, was, "You need to be obviously this high to wrestle Kurt Angle," as Kurt Angle obviously holds his hands to his chest. And then the other one was, "I lost to a freaking 12-year-old," which was Kurt's response to losing at SummerSlam. So basically, there are some nice matches following on disc 2, which brings obviously disc 2 to a close. We get matches from Matt Hardy, Tajiri, Chavo, but they can't match the action from the previous matches in ECW and especially WCW. Whether that was because of a more restrictive environment or wear and tear on the part of Rey is a matter of debate. I would say it's obviously a combination of both. We do kick start disc 3 with Rey talking about the pride he felt in teaming up with Eddie Guerrero and becoming the WWE Tag Team Champions alongside him. This was just obviously after the best period of tag team wrestling in the post TLC era, the SmackDown 6 era, if you remember that, where the teams of Rey and Edge, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit and Los Guerreros were all on obviously. They were basically all on fire as they feuded for the newly created titles at the time. So let's just put this one away. Oops. And then we'll open the black one for the final disc 3. If I can just jog my memory a little bit on this one. The team of Eddie and Rey obviously did very well together, but the cracks did begin to appear when they had some matches that weren't meant to be obviously friendly competition to find out who was obviously the better man inside the ring. The match at WrestleMania is missing. It was a mild disappointment considering the talent of both men, as is their ladder match at SummerSlam. A great match marred by the whole Dominic stipulation. I assume WWE left out the entire Dominic storyline, so not to tarnish the memory of Guerrero, it was a wise decision to do that as well. Eddie Guerrero did die in November 2005, causing an outpouring of grief, not seen since obviously Owen Hart, who died obviously 6 years earlier. In fact, I'd say obviously the grief shown for the passing of Eddie surpassed that of Owen Hart, with no disrespect intended, as it seemed to affect more people worldwide, even those who had never obviously met the man in person. I haven't obviously met Eddie or watched any of his matches live. I've only watched him obviously through the TV, but there's not many people that are wrestling fans that can watch the Hurt tribute video without obviously shedding a tear. With that in mind, imagine how obviously Rey, one of Eddie's best friends, must have felt during the Eddie Guerrero tribute edition of Raw. His match with Shawn Michaels was very good considering the circumstances surrounding it, with both men really going for it. The remainder of disc 3 covers his historic world title win at WrestleMania 22, smallest and lightest champion in WWE history, his feud with JBL, and ends with a pair of stipulation matches against his enemy Chavo Guerrero. The first bout, a Falls Count Anywhere match, is good, but the following I Quit match is better. The latter was Rey's final match before he underwent knee surgery that kept him out for almost 10 months, but as Rey says at the end of the DVD, the best of Rey Mysterio is still to come. And obviously he's been backed after that as well. He's put on some great matches after that. There are no extras whatsoever on any of the discs. This is obviously a travesty, particularly because there's a wealth of match footage that's been overlooked in the main feature. Not to mention it would have been obviously nice actually to find about the man himself away from the ring. Even a music video from POD would have been something decent. Overall, great set to get. I would definitely recommend it. I will do a video on this Ultimate Edition set that I do have. Like, comment, subscribe guys, click on the bell, be a part of the notification crew. Also, I'm going to have a lot more videos coming up. I have been quite inactive, just had a lot of things to do, and when I do get time I do like to come on here to make a few videos for you guys, which I don't mind. I am in the process of getting a few other DVDs. Let me know what you guys think on this. I'm thinking of getting the USA Tagged Classics. I do have all the UK ones, which I will do a video on when I do get time, but I'm thinking of getting the US Tagged Classics next. So watch out for that video. It'll be a slow process because most of those aren't around. I do have obviously the DVDs themselves, but it's just a tag classics because this is what I'm into, obviously collecting all the versions of the DVDs, etc. I could have just bought the black version and called it a day, but I did buy them all, including the Ultimate Fan Edition with the box separately and all opened as well. But there you have it, guys. I'll see you in the next one.